When they pulled that curtain back, you seen all of those black kids, positively now, one space, what they felt like.
Well, I just hope that they was inspired. They're at that age where they're gonna have to make some real decisions because there's so much pressure out there. And I just hope that whatever I said on stage, Bishop Jakes say on stage, or Charlemagne say on stage, and different people that came out and spoke, I just hope that it was positive for them. It's hard to get something when you haven't seen nothing.
Rickey Smiley here.
Actor, writer, author, philanthropist, executive producer.
When Barack Obama was president, he's not the president of just black people. He's the president of the United States.
Allow us, God, to see clearly tonight. Let us speak to the fragments of frustration. Keep your titles, keep your positions, keep your platforms. I wish I had some real people in here.
I think God always sends somebody, whether it's a coach, whether it's a principal, whether it's a counselor, whether it's your pastor at your church, he always sends somebody that's gonna always give you a message that's gonna stick with you.
One of the things that I always admired about you, you never left the church.
Oh no, a life-lasting discipline and structure. It's better to be respected instead of liked. When people respect you, when they see that you're like that, they have more respect for you.
Any partnership that comes to me, I tell them before we start, it's the boundary, and this so I wouldn't click out. Do not downplay the church. I'm gonna be honest with you. You were one of the people that I looked up to coming up. I met my father when I was 14, but he died on me at 19. And so I come up in the project, man. I got 11 brothers and sisters. My mother was facing 90 years to life. It's just the game that we came in. So there was no real positive role models. And so I always pick from people like Bishop Jakes, yourself, or I pick like from Bishop Joseph Walker or Michael Jordan. You know, I had to put figures in my mind in order to some way, somehow from afar pattern my life behind. How was that for you as a young man growing up in the South?
Oh man, I believe it or not, I used to watch politics on TV as a kid.
For real?
Man, 84, I remember watching Gerald Ford make speeches.
Wow.
I remember watching Jimmy Carter speeches. I remember.
I rarely hear this. I rarely hear like somebody watching.
Yeah, I remember how empowered I was when Jesse Jackson spoke at the Democratic National Convention, I think in 82.
Oh, I thought you were about to say when Obama won, he was crying.
No, man, when Jesse Jackson would say, I'll never forget when he said, just because that you live in the projects don't mean that the project have to live in you.
Wow.
And I'll never forget that. And he came to Tuskegee my freshman year.
Yeah.
Because I went to Tuskegee, for a minute before I went to Alabama State. And I remember he came and spoke at chapel. And I was just so inspired by that. I was like, I got to be something.
Yeah.
I got to do something.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Okay, I don't have a father, but I can't use that as an excuse. I don't have, my mom at that time in the 80s was struggling with drugs.
Yeah.
I had a wonderful grandparent.
Your mother struggled with drugs too?
Yeah.
Mine's had to go to rehab, man. I'll never forget that night. I had to sit. All my brothers and sisters came together, and that they were about to take her to rehab.
Yeah.
And it keep right now to this day still play in my head when I go to sleep at night. I think about that image of her leaving out in handcuffs. She left in handcuffs a couple of times, but her leaving, and they couldn't really at that age explain to me why she was leaving.
Yeah.
You see what
I
I'm
had to
saying?
go get my mom, and once I went and got her and took her, she got some outpatient treatment. She been clean ever since then. She was clean ever since then. My mom, 35 years.
Wow.
And I had to sit there with her and be there for her. I went to her first meetings with her. I was sitting right in there. I was there when she got her chip and all that stuff, man. And, drugs just affect so many families. I don't care about your celebrity status and all that stuff, man. We go through stuff just like everybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's an interesting concept, man. I can remember it today. Now, I didn't go to the treatment with her. I did go to court with her.
Yeah.
During her trial, I'll be the only kid sitting in the back. I know all the DAs.
Yeah.
They'll see me sitting in the back like, what that kid doing here? And I'll be lying to my auntie saying I had another field trip because I knew she wasn't going to let me go on the field trip. This is how bad it was. My aunt at that time told me, you don't have to go to school. You could just sell drugs. Man, listen, I was in 5th grade. 6th grade at the time. She said, you don't got to keep going to school. Just sell drugs. And at that time, when moms was going through court and seeing in that jumpsuit and stuff like that, I'm sitting in the back and I'm like, But I was happy to just see her.
Yeah.
Really didn't understand what was going on, Christmas and all that type of stuff. I used to wake up with the guns in my face.
Mm.
Yeah, they used to come in the house, man, put the gun in your face. I never forget when I went to go use the restroom, man. The cop came in the restroom with me. They said, we can't leave nobody by themselves. We don't know what you're going to flush down the toilet. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Yeah. So I always ask this question. And I think this is a concept that I have. I don't think our life, and you can agree with it and add something to it, Rick.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think our life is pushed prime by what we're going for as much as what we're running from.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, man. It's deep. You know, that's why we just have to have, I think God always sends somebody, whether it's a coach, whether it's a principal, whether it's a counselor, whether it's your pastor at your church. He always sends somebody that's going to always give you a message that's going to stick with you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A lot of us was raised by coaches. Thank God for my little league football coaches. You know what I'm saying?
I'm going to tell you one thing, man. I ain't going to gas you up, man. One of the things that I always admired about you, you never left the church.
Oh, no. No.
That's big. Come on, man. That's big now. In today's world, it's almost like they cut all ties with the church. You know, once they make it. You know, they mention God every now and then, but it's not to the degree where they go back home and visit.
No, that's your foundation, man. You know, I remember they took Whitney Houston back to her church, back to your foundation, man. You come up in that foundation. I remember joining the church, being in church, getting baptized one Wednesday evening.
Baptized on Wednesday?
One Wednesday evening. I'll never forget that. That was I got baptized, I think that was 1977. When I got baptized, and I remember my Sunday school teacher sitting out there. I remember our Sunday school lesson before our baptism was about baptism and what it was for. You know, Hattie Freeman, that was my Sunday school teacher. I left and went off to college, and I think I saw her one time since then. I can't even find nobody with a picture of her. That was my favorite Sunday school teacher, man. She meant so much to me. I'll never forget her. I ain't gonna talk about her because I'll start crying. I get real emotional.
I have that same affinity for my sixth grade teacher.
Yeah,
Miss Carter. I still can't find her. She was the first person that brought me to church. It was me and another young lady. The young lady now is a part of my church. And we remember on a Tuesday, our teacher was like, what y'all doing this evening? We was like, we go on the project, play on the monkey balls or play marbles and stuff. We said, I want y'all two to come to church with me tonight. Yeah. And she took us to church.
See, stuff like that is just life-changing, man. That's why you have to take our time with kids, take our time with young people, because that little stuff like that can be life-changing, you know, for them. I just remember, man, Miss Freeman, Hattie Freeman, was talking about just being a good person. I remember all the Sunday school books and the Sunday school lessons. I remember the way the sun was shine through the window while we sitting at those little tables back there. And then over there was the primary Sunday school class, and we was right up to the primary. I'll never forget all that. And I just knew that I had to live right and I had to do what was right.
Wow.
You know, she wasn't the kind of Sunday school teacher you was scared of. She was sweet, and you probably never in a million years would want to disappoint somebody like that.
I think that's a good segue right there about why we went to church, why we kept a standard, why we trying our best to be good people. I've always done it because I never want to disappoint my mother.
Absolutely.
You know Absolutely. What I mean? I be telling people, they be thinking I'm joking. I'm serious. Before we went outside to school, my mother used to check our underwears, our socks. And she used to always tell us, listen, if anything happened to you, I want to make sure that you ain't embarrassing me.
Right.
And from that time, it stuck with me. And when I leave that house, I represent more than just me.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
So how that feel, man? Just...
Yeah, well...
Because we lost that today. It's entitlement now. We was talking about this earlier, about how many people feel entitled.
I had all my great-grandparents. I had all of them.
I had one.
I had all my great-grandparents. I had all of my grandparents.
Well, that's bad. I ain't had no great-grandparents. I just had one grandmother.
Yeah.
On my father's side.
I had my grandmother's parents, my granddad, parents, my other granddad's mother,
Wow.
and my other grandmother's dad. I touched almost all of my great-grandparents.
Wow.
I had one great-grandparent I never met, but the rest of my great-grandparents, I never met them all. One of my great-grandmothers lived to be 106. And I have a lot of pictures with her.
Wow.
You know, so, you know, to have all that, so that make your grandparents become like your parents.
Yeah.
And your mom and dad like your brother and your sister.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But just to have all of that and to have that strong, solid foundation. And I was just blessed to have, man, I have all uncles. My mom had 4 brothers and my dad had 3 brothers.
Okay.
So I have all uncles.
Wow.
So to have that men, and most of them were military.
Yeah.
My granddad was military.
Yeah.
So that's where the discipline and the structure come in. Yeah.
No,
It's just important, even if you don't have that. That's why I encourage what I talked about on stage today, extracurricular activities.
So it means more to you than just like a sport, like a band rehearsal.
Man, it
has more emphasis.
Life lasting discipline and structure. In the band, you lining up.
Yeah.
In the band, you got to learn how to do a precision and play the music at the same time in the hot sun.
It's life skills more than
yeah.
Okay, got it.
Football practice, Little League football my whole life. Your toughness.
Yeah.
And the discipline and the structure, social skills, teamwork, all of that stuff. Now I do a morning show. That takes a team.
Yeah.
Book tour, that takes a team.
Yeah.
The discipline, get up on time.
Yeah.
The structure, no, I'm not going to do this right now because I'm doing this.
Yeah.
Remember that this morning?
Yeah.
So no, we're going to wait to do that. Hey, one thing at a time. Boom, 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 boom. I'm not finna be pulled in 5 and 6 different directions.
All y'all keep telling me everything.
Yeah.
I just want one thing at a time.
It just kind of teach you how to set boundaries.
That's a big word.
And let people, boundaries.
That's a big word.
Because
if
if you don't set boundaries, then you're going to get pulled in 50 different directions because you're not going to ever be able to make everybody happy.
Yeah.
So you have to say one thing at a time. And after I'm done with this, we will do this next.
Yeah.
And you have to put them, get in a flow and put them in your flow and, do it in good spirit because you don't have to be ugly to do it.
Right. You was good with it early. And I was like, look, when I noticed it, and I noticed all that concept, no. I said, I got you, man. Let me walk.
Because you the same way.
Oh, I'm bad. Listen, I'd have been went off the hang.
I can tell.
Like, Rail cussing it out.
Yeah, it's
like
so,
Rail just went off.
Yeah,
threw all the books and everything.
Right. It's so important.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have that, you're not going to be successful in business.
You can't be your best self.
You can't, because people will run you.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah, you can't let people run you. You know what I'm saying? You're your own boss. Wow. You got to this point. You didn't get to this point to have people run you.
Wow.
You do what they ask you to do.
Of course.
Like when I come in, remember I came in? I said, I work for y'all.
Yeah.
What would you have me to do? And then I was like, okay, we're going to do it like this. Okay, you want me to do it? You want me to do it? Okay, we're going to go do you. Then we're going to do you. Yeah. And I still got it all done.
Yeah, I love it.
Was just, do what y'all say, do all things, not some things.
Not
all things what? Decent
and in order.
And in order.
Well, you preach it.
And govern yourself what?
Accordingly.
Accordingly to what? The order.
Yeah. Now you're preaching.
That's good stuff. But that's good stuff.
Yeah.
It's a good roadmap for people to follow or whatever, and just it keeps people respectful.
That's true.
People have more. It's better to be respected instead of liked.
Oh, like, okay, all right.
You know what I'm saying? It's okay to be liked, but it's always good to be respected. When people respect you, when they see that you're like that, they have more respect for you.
I had to do that. Okay, I'm not going to drift in this. We're just going to talk about it. One of the things that I'm a big advocate for is church.
Sure.
And so even with our partnerships with Inspired Nola, any partnership that comes to me, I tell them before we start, just the boundary, and this so I wouldn't click out. Do not downplay the church. Do not try to put us under here, put your organization way up there. We are just as relevant. We're just as powerful. We still have substance. We still value in so many different regards. And I tell them that because church, people just look at it and say, that's just some people. Hey,
no.
just downplay it. But then every politician come to the church, especially when they go on the runoffs or whenever anything else. And I tell all of them, hey, listen, don't come over here and try to disrespect us. respect us when you come in. And I make sure everybody that come near that church, you respect these grounds, and you respect this church, and respect these people.